Mykhailo Mudryk is not good enough for Chelsea, but why were Chelsea and Arsenal both willing to spend so much money for him? And why is it that Chelsea fans have ignored his worrying performances for so long and only now questioning the player? In this video we explain why so many clubs wanted to sign him, his time so far at Chelsea, and the likelihood that he will succeed in the Premier League. Right, so Mudryk joined Shakhtar in 2016 after his old club FC Dnipro folded due to bankruptcy following the annexation of Crimea by Russia. He made his debut at 17, but the manager at the time did not like Mudryk's attitude and sent him out on loan to Arsenal Kiev. He made 10 appearances and got no goal contributions. He was then sent on loan again the next season and also got no goal contributions in 11 games. Despite this, Mudryk's reputation continued to grow and he became an internet sensation by showing off his skills and his clothes online, which led to him being called the Ukrainian Neymar. Roberto De Zerbi was appointed the Shakhtar coach in 2021 and he managed to get the best out of Mudryk. Mudryk managed to get 19 starts in his first season under De Zerbi with 9 assists and 2 goals. The following season is where we saw the best of Mudryk with 7 goals and 7 assists in the league in the first half of the season and 3 goals and 2 assists in the Champions League. He scored in both games against Celtic and got 2 goals and 2 assists against RB Leipzig, but it was his performance against Real Madrid that impressed the most, where we saw him use his speed and his ability on the counter-attack. That Champions League campaign was similar to Gareth Bale against Milan in 2010, where he burst onto the scene by scoring a hat-trick and basically sending Mike on into retirement. After these performances by Mudryk, many clubs wanted to sign him because of his physical ability, his potential and his popularity. The CEO of Shakhtar described him as the third best winger in the world after only Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. In January 2023, Chelsea signed Mudryk to an 8-year contract for a fee of $62 million, rising to $88 million if all add-ons were reached. He played his first game against Liverpool, coming on from the bench, and this has probably been the best he has looked in a Chelsea shirt. He showed great speed and fast feet a couple of times, but you were able to see that his first touch was not the best. He started the next game against Fulham where he was very quiet and failed to get involved in the game, and he was taken off at half-time. He then started against West Ham in a 1-1 draw, but it was also quiet in that game. This inability to affect the games continued for the rest of the season, and he lost his place in the starting 11 and failed to make an impact when coming off the bench. So far for Chelsea, he's played 19 games with no goals and 2 assists. The criticism started and rival fans started to call him the ghost of Kiev or the Chernobyl Adama Traore. We all know his main strength is his speed, but he struggles to use that due to Chelsea mostly playing against low blocks and unless they play against the bigger clubs in the Premier League or the Champions League. He does use 1-2s very well, like we saw with Nicholas Jackson in pre-season, and he's very dangerous on the counter-attack. He's not afraid to go onto his weak foot, and he's comfortable going both ways when 1v1 and confident shooting with either foot. Brentford were one of the clubs looking to sign Mudryk, and I've got no doubts if he was playing for a team such as Brentford, he would have shown his ability much more, as they like to attack with a lot of pace on the counter, and he would have much more space to exploit. He's very similar to players like Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, and Adama Traore in a sense, but Mudryk is more flashy and willing to try step-overs and tricks. If we look at his FB scouting report, this backs up the previous points. We can see he's a strong carrier of the ball, he does well to get into goal-scoring chances, and his chance creation is also good, which shows that when he's at his best, he can create many chances and be a goal threat for teams. However, his technical ability is not the level most people make it out to be. There's a big difference between performing a skill for social media where you can try it multiple times and executing that same skill under pressure consistently in a game. He's very inconsistent with his dribbling, his shooting and his first touch, and he does attempt a high volume of take-ons per game at around 5, but he's only successful around 33% of the time. For him to reach the top level, he'll need to improve his 1v1 dribbling in tight spaces where he doesn't have much space to run into, and beating players from standing starts. This is something that players like Mitoma, Saka and Vinicius Jr. do really well when playing against low blocks. Take a player like Mykhailo, for example, who was close to joining Chelsea this summer. He's nowhere near as quick as Mudryk, but he has some of the best stats for dribbling and chance creation in the league because he has superb manipulation of the ball and understanding of using feints to dribble past players. Despite constantly posting videos in the gym, he gets pushed off the ball too easily and he's weak at holding onto the ball, especially when he's got his back to the goal. Mudryk's 3 goals and 2 assists in the 22-23 Champions League campaign all came from counter-attacks. His best highlights for Shakhtar are also when he was attacking into space. So what does this tell us? Having watched Chelsea for many years, he reminds me of other players who have struggled. All these players were used to a different style of play and struggled to adapt to the way Chelsea played and the teams that they faced. Alvaro Morata, Fernando Torres and Timo Werner all struggled adapting to playing against low blocks. Timo Werner and Morata Shakhtar especially both had the same situation where they were scoring plenty of their chances from 1v1s or where they had a lot of space to operate in. When players play for Chelsea or top teams in the Premier League, it's difficult to find that much space, especially going to teams such as West Ham, Everton or Luton. This is why clubs need to be careful when buying players who look good when they're playing with a lot of space, but their attributes may not transfer well to a high possession side. Further examples of this would be Jadon Sancho, who was used to high blocks in the Bundesliga, but has struggled to show that same form at Manchester United. Mudryk also isn't a prolific goal scorer, and he only had 12 career goals before he came to Chelsea. This was whilst he was playing for the best team in the Ukrainian league. Considering this, it was very risky for Chelsea to spend 60 million on him. A big reason for why Mudryk may not succeed is he also doesn't do enough to get himself involved in games, which causes many games to pass him by. He needs to do more to get himself involved by getting into better positions to receive the ball. We can see his touches per game is only around 42 touches per 90, and only around 20 of those are in the final third. This is backed up by the stats which show he only receives around 5 progressive passes per game, and he receives an average of around 29 passes from his teammates. He is a ghost for many games, which is similar to Kai Havertz during his time at Chelsea. This is why I wouldn't criticise Timo Werner, because he always made an impact on games even when he wasn't played well. He always kept getting into goal scoring chances and trying, which is why he became a fan favourite, but that's a video for another day. Now, I remember the game against West Ham last season where people were blaming Cucurella for not passing to Mudryk, which to be honest he should have passed to him more, but as a player your teammates don't pass to you for two reasons. Either you aren't getting into spaces to receive the ball, or they don't trust you because you keep giving the ball away. Mudryk often doesn't put himself in a good position to receive the ball as a winger, as we saw in that game. He needs to be better off the ball. Kobe Bryant once said he would rather go 0 for 30 on shots than 0 for 9, because if he went 0 for 9 that means he stopped shooting. Mudryk needs to take more responsibility for how involved he is in the game, and have the mindset of rather having a really bad game but being involved than ghosting through the game. We need to see him play with no fear, similar to how Sterling played recently against Luton, where he lost the ball many times, but because he kept trying and persisting, he ended up getting 2 goals and an assist. We need to see Mudryk show the same mentality that he's always posting about on social media. I've seen many fans make excuses for him, such as lack of fitness when he arrived or blame managers for when he isn't playing. But at the end of the day, it will be up to the player if he succeeds. Pochettino is currently playing Chilwell, who is a defender ahead of him on the left wing, which shows that he's not doing enough in training and on the pitch when he gets his chance to come on. Considering Chelsea paid a fee of 88 million, Mudryk has not shown enough to justify it, especially considering you could have bought ready-made wingers who have much more to their arsenal, such as Mitoma, Rafael Leao or Jeremy Doku. In my opinion, I honestly don't believe Mudryk will turn out to be worth the money paid, but as a Chelsea fan I hope I'm proved wrong. I believe his technical ability is actually poor when you compare it to other top wingers in the league, but at 22 he's still young enough to improve, but he will need to work on his confidence and technical ability, especially close dribbling and finishing in the box. If he was to put it all together, I believe his ceiling would be very similar to a player like Gareth Bale, who could use his speed to run past players, but also beat them in other ways and impact the game with goals and assists. Thank you for watching. If you've got this far, let me know if you think Mudryk won't make it at Chelsea and why. Consider subscribing or leaving a like if you enjoyed the video, but only if you want to.